are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's a nice space. Sorry for a little bit of delay because I tried many times to get online, but I couldn't join. It was invalid. So anyway, our first presenter is ready.
Okay, it's fine, Dr. Shona, it's okay. But is everything okay now?
Yes, everything is just fine.
Okay.
So I would like to welcome all our presenters for today.
Yes. Okay. So I think the floor is yours.
Have a good day. Thank you so much. So can we have our first presenter, right? So AI-powered university student support chatbot. So my dear, all the best for your presentation. I just wanted to remind you that in case that you have any international co-presenter, please introduce at the beginning. And let me know when you're ready.
All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Goseong here, and today I'll be presenting AI-powered university student support chatbot using AWS serverless technologies and cloud AI. So imagine you're a student and it's 2 a.m. and you need information about your visa change or visa status. Or even your course registration. What do you do when the university office is closed? So today this research is about that. Okay, so this is my table of content, and roughly I'll talk about all this. So, introduction. So universities today operate in a fast-moving digital environment where students expect instant support anytime and anywhere. Based on the traditional support technology systems, they are often slow, overloaded, or limited by office hours. As of today, this research, I will introduce it to you. It's an AI-powered chatbot designed to provide continuous, intelligent, and accessible support to students. Okay, so the problem statement is, despite the growing use of educational chatbots, many existing chatbots still provide shallow responses or static responses that are predefined when they're training the model. Some also fail to understand informal languages, like the normal Gen Z slangs that students do use, or struggle to maintain context during conversations. Also, most systems still function as only like simple fact tools without real integration into university. So, the research objectives and related works. The related works are modern chatbots technologies have significantly improved student support systems through AI-driven and conversational interactions. However, existing solutions still struggle with personalization, context awareness, and integration into university services. So the research objectives of this whole project is, this research aims to design, develop, and evaluate cloud-native AI chatbot capable of delivering intelligent, real-time, context-aware student support across multiple service domains. So this is the system architecture. Let me explain it. So the student will enter their inputs or text through the front end, which is web-based, and the text is sent to the API gateway, which acts as the security gate point. So as the text is securely routed to AWS Lex V2, which processes the text and routes that text to its particular intent that the text belongs to. So now the text will be sent to the Lambda, the AWS Lambda, which acts as the main logic or the brain of the whole system. So now the Lambda will send maybe say the student is asking for their tuition fee, so the Lambda would route that text towards the database, which has the students, the fees, appointment, or just general knowledge-based answers and stuff. So if the student is asking for something that is complicated, or the language that the student uses is informal or something, it will be sent to the cloud AI that will interpret that message and send it back with a better human-like response. As well as the Amazon Simple Email Service, this is it sends emails, notifications, and also the weather API is used for real-time weather. As for the CloudWatch, it oversees and monitors the whole system. So if there's an error somewhere, the CloudWatch will show it. Moving to the next slide. Okay, these are the supported services. These are the supported services of this chatbot. The chatbot supports tuition inquiries, academic advising. It also can calculate your GPA, also visa guidance and dormitory information, mental health assistance, weather updates, and academic advising appointments management through a single conversational interface. So the findings and evaluation. I evaluated this whole project. It wasn't like measurement evaluation, it was a functional evaluation. It was based on student input, including like casual language, typos, errors, all multi-time conversations. And the system consistently maintained conversation context while delivering reliable support. And what I mean by multi-time conversation is, let me say the student says that I need to cancel. So it routes to, did the student have a previous history? If no, then it will ask for clarification. What will you need to cancel? Then it will route to that appropriate handler. But if there was a previous conversation, it will route to the previous conversation. Was it about appointment or dormitory cancellation? Then it will route appropriately to that. So that's the multi-time conversation. Moving on. Okay, so what are the advantages of this system? It improves accessibility and response speed, and also it supports multi-time conversation and integrates it into it integrates multiple student services into one platform. And the limitations are the performances decrease with highly ambiguous queries. Like if the sentence is too complicated, then it slows down the performance of the chatbot. And also it's limited in multilingual support since it's only in English. So that's one of the limitations. Moving to the next slide. So the future recommendations will be multilingual support and mobile accessibility, as in not right now it's like it's web-based, and also deeper universe integration. And in conclusion, AI-powered conversational systems are transforming student support into faster, smarter, and more accessible experience by combining cloud-native technologies with advanced language understanding. The chatbot delivers reliable, context-aware, and assistant across university services. So, thank you. Any questions?
So thank you so much. Any questions from the audience? Okay. So, my dear, can we go to page number introduction? Can you go to the introduction, please? So, I know that it's not in your table of contents, but still I need to see a little bit of like literature review. When you talk about introduction, it's not only introducing your projects, would you still rather, because it's something like academic that you're presenting, would you still like to have your literature support, but not in your introduction or any of your slides I could see any related research that can support your study, first of all. And in problem statement,
just to confirm, you'd like to FaceTime Harleyan?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so
Starting a FaceTime call to Harleyan.
the thing is that in the problem statement or research objective, whatever you are presenting to us, I cannot see any uniqueness in your research. This is something you're talking about, having an AI assistant for a student, so which is, I guess, almost most of the universities in the world, they have it already. So I cannot see what's going to be new in your research. This is something that everyone got it. And then you pointed at this AI chat would be able to understand the students' slang or their native languages. So, but when we have international students, we would like them to speak more English or whatever language. The language of the university, for example, it's going to be like Deutsch or anything. We do not encourage students to use broken English or using their own slang or native languages. So in this case, it's quite like, for me, I was looking for some references in your research to support your problem statement that there is a need among the students that they want to have this kind of AI chat, AI assistant, that they can be speaking their own native languages, but I cannot see any supportive statement. So for me, I would give you a few minutes to explain how did you get into this idea that this AI has something different than the other AI assistant from the university's website, which, as I said, we already have it in most of the university's websites. So what is different in your research? First of all, can you answer this? And if your answer is going to be like the one that you pointed, it's going to be an AI chatbot that can speak young generation language. So can you support with other literature saying that this is something that's going to benefit students? Because at my point of view, as an academician, this is something harming the students' language. So, go ahead, please.
Okay, first of all, to answer the first question, that how is it different from the existing systems? The reason why it's different is because the existing systems are most of the time predefined or static. They do not interpret. They do not interpret normal languages because it's predefined or static because from the time that it's trained. But the reason why this is different because it integrates all most of the services that other chatbots don't have. Like,
let me stop you. All right, my dear. When you say that it's traditional, it's different than traditional method of this AI assistant.
yes.
So we don't have. We are not in the era to say that we have a traditional AI assistant. AI assistant, it's like something totally contemporary, totally new. And as far as my knowledge, they are getting updates day by day. And there is nothing like you can say that it's not traditional, it's not getting updated. And whatever you try to explore it, saying that there is an issue or there is a demand from a student or whatever it is, we have to see it there. I couldn't see a specific methodology here. I couldn't see any reference or citation to support that For example, among 90% of the students, they admit that they need to have an AI assistant that would understand their slang or their native language, whatever it is, but there is no support. It's something like, to me, it's a good presentation, but it's not an academic presentation.
I will, let me say, object, because, let me say, this whole project is based on what I observed that is missing in my school at the moment. And what is missing in my school is because there's no 24 services that are given to the students. In my school, like the international office is limited hours, like they only work from 9 to 5. So after that, if a student has a question about visa change or geometry, or they have an emergency, they cannot get that kind of information instantly and anytime they want to. That's why I thought there was need for this kind of chatbot. And what makes it unique is because it integrates all services into one platform. So that's, yeah. And the side that you said it's harmful in, let me say, to the students based on the language or their slang or anything. To me, it's not harmful because there's a way that students can talk or can ask a chatbot like the way normally I would chat with ChatGPT. It's not, I can't write a full sentence with full grammar. I cannot. So that's why I was saying it's not harmful at all.
Okay, my dear. First of all, I have a suggestion to you. When your university is KDU, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in this case, when you are making it very subjective, it's only your school having this issue. When you are doing avoid academic research, what we do is that we would say, okay, let's say we have 100 universities, for example. In these 100 universities, we have found out that 70 of them, they do not have 24 hours support for a student. That's why this is an issue. But just your university not supporting the students cannot become a total nation's problem. So what I'm saying is that if you think it's not only your university, it's going to be like many of the universities, you have to come up with the numbers.
Yes, I'm not saying it's only because of my university, but I'm saying from my perspective in my university, because these are the normal things that I do face every day in my university. So obviously it would apply to other students in other universities.
So, but I have
sorry,
numbers, Martin.
Dr. Shona,
Okay.
you have extended the time by a lot, actually, to be honest.
Okay.
Yes, if it's
All
possible,
right, so,
if it's possible, can you limit to one question only per presenter?
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
In this case, I would just suggest you to discuss further with your supervisor. Maybe you can change the title, or you can support in your presentation in the future with more references and literature reviews. Okay, good luck. Can we proceed with our next presenter?
My name is Dushimeka Sheila, and today I'm presenting our research about AI-driven urban energy optimization in emerging megacities. In 2050, the study shows that 7 out of 10 people will live in the city and consume 78% of the world energy. So the rapid pace of urbanization presents unprecedented challenge for global energy systems. As cities expand and population concentrates in urban centers, the demand for efficient and sustainable energy solutions becomes critical. So this research explores how AI, IoT, and cloud computing can transform urban energy management. So the problem is to implement all that technology in emerging, developing cities like Dhaka in Bangladesh, which still have what we call legacy grids with old buildings, old wires, old infrastructure, it becomes very challenging. And also we have another challenge called AI carbon paradox, which means that like to train one large AI model require as much carbon 5 cars will emit their entire life. And also there is a human factor. There are those informal workers that depends on the work of collecting the waste. Also depends. Also their living depends on that. So our research will address those gaps: infrastructure and scalability, life cycle impacts, AI carbon paradox, socio-technical integration, and framework development. So this research developed a socio-technical framework for AI-driven energy and waste-to-energy optimization in emerging megacities. The framework addresses critical gaps that hinder sustainable smart cities implementation, focusing on practical solutions for resource-constrained urban environments where traditional centralized approaches fail to deliver equitable outcomes. So, for the history of our research, we can observe 3 phases. Before 2024, this phase established foundational AI applications, but assumed ID connectivity and computing resources that emerging megacities lack. And in the other phases, we see in 2024 and 2025, this period is marked by transition toward hybrid and contextual AI modeling. And in 2025 and 2026, we see green AI emerge as the dominant paradigm, emphasizing energy efficient, life cycle aware AI that accounts for their own carbon footprint while optimizing urban energy consumption. So the methodology we used here, for the data acquisition, we use stratified sampling techniques, which means that we isolate commercial areas, housing, and we put them together, and proxy variables for incomplete data sets. We also use in developing cities, we don't have enough data. Also, we are going to use, for example, the age of the infrastructure and IoT cloud fusion architecture enabling real-time data collection from distributed urban sensors across megacities environment. And for air modeling, we use gradient boosting for building typologies. The model is called LSTM network, achieved more than 90% accuracy in domain forecasting, and we use reinforcement learning for autonomous control with leave one sit-out validation. And our research reveals 4 critical findings that demonstrate how AI-driven approaches can transform urban energy system in emerging megacities while addressing scalability challenges, environmental impacts, and socio-technical integrational requirements. So the key findings, there are 8 areas for scalability. Green AI reduced carbon footprint by 35 to 45% through model compression using techniques like quantization or pruning to compress the model, and localized waste to energy optimization improves energy recovery from waste, and socio-technical governance protects labor and ensures transparency. And in this graph, with all this technology, we need also to see how the administrators can access those 8 devices. So we see here desktop and mobile. We see a high number of people using using desktop and the lower number of people using mobile. And over time, we see that overall, the number of people using these technologies is decreasing. And it's because of, like, as I said, in emerging cities, internet connectivity is still a little bit a problem. And recommendation, based on our research findings, we propose 5 key recommendations for implementing AI-driven urban energy optimization in emerging megacities. Here we have mandate edge AI architectures, institutionalize green AI and LCA, localize waste to energy predictive models, socio-technical governance, and cybersecurity frameworks. In conclusion, AI-driven optimization deliver major urban impacts, reducing energy costs by 20% and emissions by 15% in urban environment. Edge AI architecture ensure resilience and reliability in resource-constrained megacities with limited connectivity. Green AI methodology guarantee net positive sustainability outcomes by accounting for lifecycle energy costs. Socio-technical governance ensure that no one is left behind, even the informal worker, which works is to collect the trash and bring where the trash is supposed to be processed. Thank you. Any question?
So thank you, my dear. Okay. My dear, I really enjoyed your presentation. Everything was very precise. The only thing that I would like you to have in mind for your future study is that when you have a presentation, I'm 100% sure that you have done a lot of references, literature review, and so on. But here, whatever you mentioned here, I needed to have a little bit of citation, references.
Okay.
According to the which site you have assumed, give me a second, I have here. Okay, 70 to 70% of global population will be urban by 2050. So where did you get this information from? It's going to be very nice if you can have in your next presentation citation or references there. It's going to help your audiences. And the only question that I had, because that was very clear and precise for me, what was the limitation in your study? Did you face any limitation?
Yes, I cited there is AI carbon paradox, there are old infrastructures, also there are the human workload, the human elements which relies to the work of collecting the waste and bringing to a place where it's going to be processed.
Okay, so and it did limit your research? Or you mean that since they were they were doing it, you didn't have?
Excuse me?
So, the limitation of your research, so may I have the limitation of your research if you face any limitation in your research?
Okay, the limitation, as I said, in developing cities, first of all, we don't have smart infrastructure that can support smart technologies.
Okay.
That's first. Also, we have AI carbon paradox. Here we want to use AI to manage the energy. But also, if we don't pay attention, AI also can cause, how can I say, AI also use energy to train a very large model. So to approach all those limitations, I propose that AI, you can use techniques to compress models, to use small model like quantization models and and pruning. Yeah, and I think that's all.
That's it. Okay. I'll just elaborate with you regarding your second limitation. Thank you so much. I don't have any comment or question from you. So well done. But just have it in mind for your future presentation to bring references in your slides.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good luck. So can we have our next presenter, please?
Hi, Prof.
Hello. Do we have online presentation or?
We're having a presentation, yes.
Okay, so my dear, in this case, if you have like any international co-presenter, please introduce at the beginning that I can consider the extra mark. So good luck and your 10 minutes to start from now.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Wei Hui, and AP Dr. Madu and Zhou Junfeng is my co-presenter. Today, I will starting with the I will present or start the entitled Differentiated Adaptive Leadership Motivation Model for Higher Education Teachers' Well-being. I will starting with the key challenges. In China's managerialist higher education system, teachers face three main challenges: salaries, austerity, Excel non-teaching tasks, and research-based evaluation. Leaders, on the other hand, often adopt a one-size-fits-all approach. As a result, teachers at different career stages may not receive the support they need. The research gap is clear. Empirical studies and leadership motivation dynamics across career stages remain limited, especially in the Shenzhen context. Therefore, this study aims to propose a career stage sensitive leadership model. The objectives are to identify motivational needs, determine appropriate leadership support, and develop the DAM model. Three motivational theories underpin this study. First, self-efficacy theory underpins teachers' confidence in their ability. Second, expectancy value theory underpins the concept that teachers are more motivated and believe they can succeed and value the task. Third, self-determination theory with the three key concepts and needs autonomy, competence, and resilience. We also examine three leadership styles: instructional, transformational, and distribute. Together, these theories help explain why teachers at different career stages need different forms of leadership support. We adopt the case study design and the quantitative method for data collection. Semi-structured interviews were conducted with 21 academics at a public university in Shenzhen. Participants will grow up into three career stages: novice academics with 5-year or less of teaching experience, medium-career academics with 16 to 15 years of experience, senior academics with 16 years or more. The data were analyzed using NViva-40. Our first key finding is that different career stages have different motivational dominant and additional. The dominant motivational needs of novice teachers are competence.
And the additional needs are structured mentoring, AI-enhanced feedback, teacher confidence, and skill mastery.
The dominant motivational needs for meeting career teachers are resilience.
And the additional needs are professional learning communities, cross-department collaboration, peer recognition, and professional belonging.
And the senior teachers' needs are autonomy.
And the additional needs are trust, reduced bureaucratic approvals, innovative freedom, and professional agency. The second finding with regards to leadership support and the career stages is seen as in the screen here. Novice teachers obviously require instructional leadership type. and they need additional support such as AI-enhanced feedback, classroom observations, and structured coaching. The leadership style that mid-career teachers require is transformational, with the additional support of vision co-creation, moral modeling, and intellectual simulation. And the seniors teachers, they prefer distributed leadership style. And in this distributed leadership style, the additional support is empowering professional learning communities, decentralizing decision-making, and trust-based empowerment. Obviously, there's a mismatch, and if there's a mismatch, the teachers will be demotivated, burn out, or may even turn over. The third finding is with regards to the mechanism of scaffolding and support needed. Right. For novice teachers, competency scaffolding is needed through interaction and instructional leadership that provides structured, actionable feedback. In its absence, the novice teachers would feel overwhelmed and consider leaving the profession. Mid-career teachers, they would prefer transformational and distributed leaderships as well, enabling them for professional learning communities and peer recognition. In its absence, it prevents the formation of peer learning communities and professional isolation. Seniors obviously prefer autonomy, empowerment through distributed leadership, trust in their expertise. They need autonomy, empowerment, and delegated decision rights. In its absence, they feel disrespected and eventually are disengaged. All right? So the barriers that we obviously found were administrative and the pressures. Administratively, the fragmentation creates silos and rigid budgets, pressures like workload and evaluation biasness. So therefore, we have proposed this model, DALM, Differentiated Adaptive Learning Leadership Motivation Model, where we look at the three different types of leaders and how it affects novice, mid-career, and senior teachers, the type of support they need, as well as the scaffolding that they require. With this downward support, we hope that teachers' motivation and professional engagement will eventually lead to teacher professional development and teacher well-being aligned with SDG 3. So in our discussion and implications, the theoretical implications are the application of extending the three theories that were highlighted earlier within the Chinese managerialistic higher education context. It's integrated, otherwise the theories are observed or underpinned individually, not as an integrated three-theory concept. Practically, novice teachers, obviously, they require structured coaching and perhaps even AI-enhanced feedback. Mid-career teachers, professional learning communities among themselves, as well as cross-departmental collaboration. Seniors, they would prefer to have reduced approvals and grant budget autonomy. I think we all can understand what they feel in that sense for being senior teachers. Well, policies, in terms of policy, it's time to dismantle silos, rebalance research and thinking, as well research teaching evaluation, because a lot of evaluation is very much based on, in Malaysia, what we call KPI, where we look at key performance index. Again, linked to SDG.
Can you speed up, please?
Next one. Next one. Okay, my co-presenter is going to present the last slide.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. To conclude, leadership must adapt to teachers' career stage needs. The DLAM model offers a practical stage-sensitive framework to support teachers' well-being in the Chinese higher education context. There are several limitations that are acknowledged. The focus on a single university in one province, solely quantitative data and a limited scope, i.e., only 3 career stages. Future research could extend this study to include different institutions, including schools and colleges from multiple provinces, gather data sources using a mixed method from different data sources to triangulate the data, and finally extend the career stage to include AI-mediated leadership can also be explored. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all, Prof, for our presentation. Before you comment on the literature and the reference, it's in the paper, but we did not cite it in the slides here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a question from the audience, please.
I have a question. Your DALM model linking career stage to specifically leadership styles. What is the most important critical change this model suggests for university leaders?
Okay. The DAM model is aimed at having leadership styles being varied, not a one-size-fits-all leadership that is run across institutions, which is generally happening. So we would encourage the leaders to adopt this more of a distributed or transformational or instructional leadership as per the careers stages of the academics.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the audience? All right. So my dear, I know that all of you have done lots of efforts for doing your research, and definitely you have literatures and citation, and you have limitation of the page numbers, but still, it's very beneficial if you can just highlight and point somewhere in your slides the references.
Yeah, I concur.
Thank you. So my question is that regarding the semi-structured interview among the academicians that you have interviewed, right? So, and this AI assistance that you want to have in your leadership, I noticed that you have separated based on the years of experience, but does it have any different for the AI systems, the gender of the academicians or the leaders? Because you have written all the career stages.
Yeah, we did not look at, sorry Prof, we did not look at gender per se, or even the feedback. We just focused on this particular, for this paper, we focused on this aspects only. There's a lot of future work that can be done, like you have mentioned, going into gender-based feedback, AI and behavior, and a lot of other aspects can be explored thereafter. But for this particular reference, we kept it limited to this
Okay,
aspects.
no, it's fine. I just wanted to drag your attention for future research. Maybe you can point on that, because among the lecturers, straight from the career stage, there's always like different needs and demands between female academician and male academician.
Yeah, definitely. We feel it.
Exactly. So my point of view, everything was just fine. I enjoyed your presentation, and the title is very important to all of us. But I would suggest you to make the graphic of your slide a little bit more simple.
Right.
Otherwise, it's fine. I really appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Well done. You're welcome. So can we have our next presenter, please?
Hi, good afternoon, Doctor. Okay, good afternoon to everyone.
So my dear, your 10 minutes will start from now. If you have any international presenter, please introduce at the beginning.
Yes, I do have my co-author from New Zealand, Mr. Fakulti. I will start the presentation first. Okay, today I'm going to present my paper here, KMC model of myopia management for school-age children. So I'm from optometry practice. So see, the first thing we may notice this. Nowadays we have a clinical, we have a lot of myopia prevalence, which is very high in Asian countries, especially in Asian countries, and Malaysia is one of them. So we found that myopia is basically a refractive error which make us cannot focus for distance vision, which is the short-sightedness. Okay, so for parental behavior, this study basically it will be focus the parental behavior to integrate the concerns domains into clinical myopia management, which help for better visual outcomes. Why does this study matter? Well, based on the findings, we found out the parents' awareness and the knowledge attitude practices, which abbreviated as KDP factors, will be highly influence the treatment uptake, where the parents is determined for the treatment decision making. This is why we come up with this KMC model. So the next one. The aim of this study is the development of KMC model, which will be applied in clinical management. The research objective to explore parents' awareness of myopia. Next will be to identify the KAP factors which impact for the treatment uptake. Next will be the model development, which will be developed in this study. The research question will be what is the level of parental awareness and how the KAP contribution for the treatment uptake, and next will be the driver of KMC model. Next will be from my co-author.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me okay. So when we looked at the literature Thanks. So when we looked at the literature and tried to find the gap in the literature, what we have, we found the first thing what we like to discuss is about myopia. So as my colleague mentioned, myopia is a refractive error whereby the distance vision becomes blurry, and this is very prominent in Southeast Asia at this point in time. The prevalence of myopia is said to be almost 50% reaching by the year 2050, and due to COVID, thanks to COVID, the prevalence will reach 50% earlier than what it was predicted. We also understand that in Malaysian context, it is not different. The reason behind school children are now spending more time on digital device, unlike the olden days where kids used to spend more time outdoors, and spending more time doing near tasks is one of the risks to develop this minus prescription or myopia. A lot of Malaysian studies have been done finding the prevalence as well, and the prevalence currently is reported to almost 50%. Now, why is it important to study about myopia? Because myopia is just not a refractive error. It comes with a lot of risk of other eye diseases. And if we are not able to control that power increase, you may land up people having sight-threatening disease when they grow older. And fortunately, there are strategic plans and management options such as contact lenses, specially designed spectacle lenses, or pharmaceutical lenses, some of which are FDA approved, which are proven to slow down this power progression by almost 50 to 60%. So we looked at all of this and we kind of put these things together into the health belief model as well as the theory of planned behavior, because we understand that these both models help clinicians to look at how parents and patients would perceive the risk, because most of the time, if not all the time, parents are the decision makers. So we applied the health belief model because we do know that parents perceive the risk of childhood myopia. And we also applied the theory of planned behavior because the treatment intention and action is again very important for the success and benefit of myopia management. So looking at the methods, we applied a qualitative assessment with purposive sampling. We conducted this study around Klang Valley region, and the participants were patients' parents who kids were between the age of 6 to 12 years who had minus prescription, which is myopia less than 6 diopters, those who consented to the study. The methodology was semi-structured questionnaire, interviews. In these interviews, it was about 30 to 45 minutes. And once we had those interviews recorded, we performed in vivo thematic analysis, and these themes informed the development of the model we are proposing today.
So next will be the findings. Wow, this in vivo basically demonstrate the changes of outright improvement of the development of parental behavior from very limited myopia awareness to a better concern of KAP and eventually go for the sustained myopia engagement. So the middle will be the core model of KMC model, where we try to explore parental behavior and map to the theoretical foundation, and eventually we integrate in the clinical integration, and after implementation, the clinical outcomes will be positive, where parents tend to decide for the treatment update. And this is the steps of the KMC model development. As I mentioned just now, identify the parental behavior, theoretical mapping, and we construct the KMC model. Next will be integrate in the clinical management and end up with implementation. So next step will be for the future concern for advancement and refinement.
So based on our results, we also kind of mapped the different aspects according to the theory and clinical application. Now, clinical application being the most important in this case, because if you want to fill up the awareness gap, education about the progression of the condition is very important. So as a clinician take-home message, that's really important. When it comes to risk, we want to communicate the clear risk of not taking up the treatment so that the parents understand. We also are very much inclined toward explaining the various treatment options based on the safety, cost, convenience, and effectiveness, so they can have an informed decision. Things are moving towards evidence-based, so the optometrist or the eye care professional use evidence to explain this to build professional trust with the parents. And along with the parents, we want to have a shared decision making, because that again helps us to ensure that the kids are going to use that treatment and the effective outcome is managed. And all of this put together, we need the parents and the patients also to understand that this is an ongoing treatment, so they have to adhere to a scheduled follow-up visit. They need to visit the practice to monitor their condition as well.
So overall, KMC model is a structured framework that we studied about parental behavior, including awareness, KAP, into a clinical myopia management. So this will be strengthened by clinical communication, which means parental education, risk explanation, treatment comparison, shared decision making. All this will be improved the uptake of the treatment. So next, for conclusion, this model basically enhances the parents' education, the trust to the professional team, and the follow-up monitoring in practical clinical. So basically, this will be improved the adherence of the treatment update. And next, the KMC model able to increase treatment uptake and reduce the risk of myopia progression, and end up with long-term vision outcomes in Malaysia. This is the summary of my KMC model, which improve KMC improvement, the parental engagement, treatment uptake, and adherence for the treatment. Thank you, everyone. That's all from me.
Thank you so much. Any comments, please? Okay. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Interesting. I just wanted to ask you something.
Sure.
Regarding this, your scope of the study, to me, it's quite wide because I know that you mentioned your scope of the study was clan value, right?
Yes.
Okay. But may I have a little bit of explanation? Was that the information that you gathered through the private clinic, public clinic? For me, there is something which is missing for my own understanding. This parental education, does it have anything to do with the economy of the family? It's like, for example, could you separate it, like, private school children from public school children,
Yes.
or like income of the family?
Okay.
Because
Basically,
I couldn't see
yes.
in the presentation. I just wanted to have a clear perception towards your scope of the study.
Yes. Based on the methodology, basically these studies, we done it in a private clinic, optometry clinic.
Private.
So we use purposive sampling for those parents who have kids 6 to 12 years old. So this basically we will concentrate only for Chinese ethnic, mainly for
Okay.
Chinese. Yes. Yeah.
So in this case, maybe it could help if you would make it like very
More.
clear in your
Yeah, we
proposal.
expand
And,
for these. Yes.
regarding the future studies, maybe you can recommend that the same
And
study can be done for public
Yes.
schools or other races and all.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay. Thanks.
So good luck with your future researches. Then we have next presenter, please. And Mr. Robert, is it going to be like online presentation or you are there?
I'm here. I'm doing face-to-face
Oh.
presentation. Okay.
Okay. My dear, as always, if you have any international co-presenter, please introduce in the beginning. They can note.
I'm presenting alone. Okay.
Good Lord. So
Thank
you're
you.
10 minutes.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ruben Felizardo Jr. from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. So before becoming a student researcher, I was actually a gamer. And like many gamers, I spent countless hours exploring visual cities, driving through streets, hiding from enemies, and chasing game milestones. So as a researcher in the design and build environment, I began asking a simple question. Can theories used to explain human behavior in real landscapes also explain how we experience game worlds? So today, I'll be sharing with you how prospect refuge theory help us understand game pacing and player engagement in a virtual scene. So let's start with how games are being studied, or the so-called ludology, the study of games and gaming. So the figure 1 shows how games are spatially understood in 4 layers. The first is the material. This is the form wherein it shows the building, it shows the ground, and other forms that we can imagine in a game world. And then the second is the mechanical. This is the spatial movement mechanics that allows an avatar to walk, jump, slide, and etc. And then we also have the third layer, the representational. This is the manifestation from the real to digital world. And then lastly, we have the player, which it can be the reflection of you or a persona you aspire to be. In ludology, gamers' personality, motivation, and preferences are widely studied. So based on our literature review, as shown in figure 2, it is less known about the theoretical analysis and application of games, which is the research gap in our study. So to embark our journey in the game studies, we subscribed to the prospective refuge theory of Appleton in 1975. So the concept behind this is basically explaining that as humans, we have an innate behavior and psychology that need for places that allows us to see, which is the refuge, but without being seen, the prospect. But allow me to explain this further in game environments. So this can be in the form of an object or an element that allows us to hide from the enemy in a vast prospect of danger. So moreover, these notions of theory were derived from the traits observed in the predators and prey in the safari. Like for example, in figure 3 as shown, that the lions take refuge below an acacia tree in a safari, of course, while taking comfort and waiting for their next lunch in the safari, which is the prospect of zebras. Next slide, please. Thank you. So by knowing the research concept from the introduction and literature review, subsequently, the central goal of this study was to investigate how prospect refuge elements affect game pacing in an RPG or role-playing game environment. The first objective was to understand the game's mechanics. The second was to classify prospect and refuge elements. And third was to develop a factoring system capable of measuring game pacing through these environmental conditions. So the hypothesis proposes that the prospect spaces generally increase pacing because they encourage movement, visibility, and exposure, while refuge spaces slow pacing because they offer protection, comfort, and recovery. However, the player experience is not simply fast versus slow gaming. Instead, game pacing emerges from a dynamic push and pull relationship between pleasurable and monotonous experiences as visualized in our Venn diagram in figure 4. Next slide, please. Thank you. So for this research, we propose a simple 3-step method to develop a more scalable and replicable research. First, we did the video game content analysis, or the VGCA. It is used to understand the game mechanics. Then the output for this particular method was the swim lanes figure showing the 22 events as the first milestone in the mission index. Second, prospect and refuge elements were identified and classified from the user-generated gameplay content, or UGC, which is the output for this is the establishment of 5 conditions in the game elements with how we extract the digital artifacts, and the refinement of the game pacing elements determined from a former literature, which is the seminal literature about game rules. So as we wanted to observe also the pleasurable and monotonous experiences, to enable the former, we provided movement sensitive, protection, comfort, and resolution as the dualism of the movement impetus, the threat, the tension, and tempo or reaction. So the third one, which is the last step for this method, we developed a factoring system to evaluate the digital artifacts. All accounted pleasurable experiences are given +1 point, while the monotonous experiences, which are the movement sensitive, protection, and so on, are given -1 point. Ultimately, we interpreted using a game pacing curve diagram. Next slide, please. So for this slide, it illustrates how the digital artifacts were collected and analyzed. Each mission event was examined to identify prospect and refuge characteristics. For example, open streets, landmarks, and visible pathways, as seen at the prospect elements column, are functioned as prospect spaces because they encourage movement and exposure. In contrast, like for example, in the column of refuge elements, clothing stores, protected interiors, vehicles, and sheltered locations function as refuge spaces because they provide safety or recovery. Importantly, the analysis did not only focus on the said physical objects, but also on how these objects influence player engagement as expressed using the pacing factor of +1 point and -1 point. Supplementary, the image of the city by Kevin Lynch was used to spatially express on how these elements are extracted from the game. Next slide, please. This slide presents the generated game pacing curve diagram. One key finding from this diagram is that peaks in prospect factors frequently coincides with the peaks in overall game experience. As prospect increase, players experience greater intensity, engagement, and excitement. A second finding that is quite unique in our study is that the appearance of plateaus, or we call it as plateau of experience. So for this one, even when prospect and refuge conditions change, the overall rhythm sometimes remain predictable, suggesting that pacing is not actually determined by isolated events, but by broader mission structure. For our third findings is that refuge functions as a counterbalance. Rather than eliminating engagement, refuge introduces moments of recovery that prevent fatigue and sustain long-term player interest. And for our overall conclusion for this particular part, the pacing curve demonstrates that meaningful gameplay demonstrates gameplay emerging through the continuous interaction between acceleration and recovery. Next slide, please. Let me just sum up this conclusion, but if you wanted to digest it even more, you can take a photo. But for the summary of this one, given the data, we then conclude the following. Movement impetus often exists alongside movement insensitive. Players move toward goals but also seek advantageous positions. Threat frequently leads to protection, then tension often leads to comfort, then subsequently, or similarly rather, action is commonly followed by resolution. So these relationships shown in the slide demonstrate that prospect and refuge are not opposites competing against one another. Rather, they operate as a complementary forces that collectively shape player experience across various spatial conditions, which are the path, as seen in the visual interpretation column, the landmark, the district, and the edge. Next slide, please. For the recommendations, several opportunities emerge from our work. So for method 1, we do recommend that for future researchers, they do the full mission VCA. Then for method 2, we do recommend for the future researchers to also take note of the recording of assets and resources. Like for example, if the characters gains money or weapons as part of the game, that could be a positive or pleasurable experience for them. Then also we could also identify vantage points and hazard types, their time frames, and then also we could do participatory research. Moving on with the method 3, we could get the mean from the participatory dataset, then apply the factoring system to other RPG environments, and then in that particular position, we will be able to determine the ideal pacing curve for the RPG environment designs. Next slide, please. So this will be my last slide. Ultimately, the contribution of this study extends beyond game studies. First, it provides a theoretical bridge between environmental psychology and digital environments. Second, it introduces a novel visual and spatial analysis method for examining game content. And third, it positions landscape elements as primary sources of behavioral data rather than merely aesthetic fixtures. And most importantly, it demonstrates that game pacing can be understood through spatial dualisms, creating a framework that is replicable, scalable, and applicable across multiple digital environments. Here are my, next slide please, my references. And next slide, sorry. These are my references, and thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments from the audience, please? You're right. So, Mr. Ropan, it was very informative. Even though I'm not good in gaming, but it was very informative. Everything was explained very well. The only question that I wanted to ask you for a little bit more explanation is relationship between research objective 3 and the methodology. So I mean, objective 1 and 2, I could follow with your methodology and the outcome. Can you make it like a little bit clear for me, the relationship between objective number 3, the methodology that we use, and the outcome in a very short and brief?
Okay, for our method 3, we actually propose a factoring system for us to simply note that the pleasurable experiences are not merely pleasurable experiences noted on games, but also there are monotonous experiences. So what we did is that we actually took some digital artifacts by watching a gameplay series wherein, for example, this particular character will be having like a comfort or like protection rather, in a certain enemy will do +1. But if there will be enemy attacking the character, there will be -1 point. So that's how we try to get the mean line diagram of the game. So we were able to show the interplay between those two elements.
According to your slide, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Because according to your slide, I think it's page number to the last one, to the last slide. So you mentioned that apply factoring system to other programs, right? So what do you mean by other programs?
We wanted to see if there are commonalities or differences when we apply this factoring system across different game environments, because in the seminal work that we did, we only had a chance to do the method for sandbox games, which is the GTA Vice City. So for future researchers, we wanted them to actually look into other environments if this dualism still persists. So if this persists, this will be adding up with the body of knowledge that we have introduced. But if there are discrepancies, it should be noted as well as part of trying to recalibrate the methods and then refine it for better use of the future researchers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
To me, academic representing an article, if I would be in your position, I wouldn't say that mean from other programs. So I would rather you to write down few name of the programs.
Sorry, Dr.
Just
Shona,
like other programs.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, you mentioned about GTA Vice City, right?
Yes.
Okay, does it apply the same for the future GTA 5 GTA games, like GTA 5 for example?
Yeah, we're looking into doing it with some GTA series as well, because by doing so, we will be able to know the ideal pacing curve. Like for example, this could be the basis of the future game developers wherein they can actually design the game that there is a slow movement, there is a high movement, and then there are plateaus. So I think it is also recommended all throughout the GTA series.
Okay, so GTA 6 is coming up, so
yes,
it's for that as well.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the last comment, Mr. Robbins. Some of your references are really outdated.
Okay.
For example, applicant, 1975, 1980, or 2006. So I would like you to update your references.
Okay. Maybe I could supplement the more recent references as part of it.
Actually, we do not accept any references older than 5 years. So please have it very in mind that you have to
I have a question. Can I still retain the Appleton 1975 because that's the original theoretical?
I know. Appleton is the exception, but the others you have like 2006, 2007,
Okay, great.
2015. So there is still like numbers that you have to update.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
noted. Thank you.
You're welcome. Last but not least, presenter, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Goseong, and I am a current undergraduate student. I'm a current undergraduate student at Kyungdong University Global, and today I'm going to be presenting my paper on on-device LLM reasoning for IoT and anomaly detection in fog computing environments. Now, for the background, as technology has rapidly advanced, we can see and find sensors almost in every corner of the room or in different environments, but the sensors gives us a number. For example, for temperature, let's say it's 30 degrees Celsius, then most of us will know that the room is hot and we need to take some precaution like drink water and such. But what if someone says the air quality is 145 UZ per M30? Now, if you come from a technical background, then you may be able to realize what that means, but for normal people who do not yet have a grasp of that, what do they do with that number? So that is where we are looking at the behavior act, because just knowing the numbers from the sensors does not equate acting. Now, for that, we started by looking at 3 major papers, and one of them was on the technical side because we wanted to be sound on the technology that we were about to build, and one was that fog responses faster than cloud IoT only pipelines. Another 2 were related to behavior, because one showed that raw numbers without context in fact reduce protective behavior. This means if you just feed people raw numbers, then they get overwhelmed and may choose to not act at all. And another was that contextualized IoT alerts. If the alert is not only easy to understand but also gives the steps on what to act on, then people are more likely to act. Now, for this study, we focused on 3 major questions. One was whether we could properly build a fully offline 3-tier fog stack using AicE-Bs2026Sokcho and basic sensors that could be found for affordable price. And another was a multivariant isolation forest, whether a machine learning algorithm that runs on low memory node can detect anomalies or not. And the third and the most important research question was, will a on-device LLM be able to give contextualized text and help people act on it? Now, for this research, we went across 2 different streams of papers. One was for the technical reliability, and one of the most important findings we found here was that fog or edge computing is way faster compared to cloud computing, mostly because of cold starts and such. And in the second stream, we focused on the environmental behavior aspects, such as the 2025 studies that showed numbers alone reduce the protective behavior. Now, for the technical structure, we have the 3 layers. The first one is the perception layers. This is where the AicE-Bs2026 and sensors are located. The AicE-Bs2026 connects with the Wi-Fi and pushes raw numbers to the MQTT broker. Now, the broker transmits to the second layer, that is also known as the fog layer. Here, the laptop or any device can serve as the fog node, and through the numbers received by the MQTT, it is fed into a isolation forest algorithm. Now, the isolation forest algorithm catches the anomalies and takes it and feeds it to the local on-device LLM. Now, the LLM then gives a conceptualized text that tells people on what the current situation is and how they can act on it. The third layer is a cloud layer. This is an optional layer because having it is nice, but as we have seen through past papers, the fog layer works better than the cloud layers. And for the experiment protocols, we did 50 controlled injections for different tests. For example, for one we kept the heat at the highest point and took 10 tests to see how the device would behave. Similarly, for noise, air quality, and sometimes we triggered the values for all sensors to test how the on-device LLM will react with a gap of 45 seconds to test them all. Now moving on to the findings. The precision score here is known as the number of flags that the on-device LLM caught accurately. As for the recall score, it is similar to the precision but not exactly it. The recall score is the number of flags that were correctly catched. If the precision is saying that the one that catches an unusual behavior is in fact the unusual behavior, the recall score is the one that says there was an unusual behavior but the algorithm failed to catch it. Now, as you can see, there is a pattern here. When the heat was kept at high, then all of the scores are 100%, because when the heat is triggered, it also triggers other sensors such as the air quality decreases, the humidity also decreases, hence the LLM can easily find out that something major happened. However, when something like CO2 is changed, there is barely any effect across the other sensors. CO2 changing does not change heat or noise. Hence, in such situations, the LLM may fail to catch it. This is rather a structural limitation rather than a parametric one. And moving on, this is where we compare the latency. As you can see, the detection score is almost 10.43 milliseconds. The LLM finds the anomalies almost instantaneously. As for the LLM explanation, it takes a little bit while, almost about 18 seconds. Now, is this a long time? Maybe if we were studying things like smoke detectors that displace water, this would have been a long time. However, we are currently checking indoor environments and such, so I believe it is a suitable time here. And on the chart in the figure 3, you can see how the algorithm separated the normal readings that are in green and the unusual readings that are highlighted in red. The F1 score is 0.750, means out of 40 instances, the 31s were correctly calibrated. Now here is an example of how it works. The sensor input takes raw data, for example 46.14 degrees Celsius, humidity 14.49, such air quality, and the isolation forest algorithm gives a score that is then given to the on-device LLM, and it says things like the detected anomaly shows critically high temperature 46 degrees Celsius and dangerously low humidity 14 degrees Celsius combined with elevated air quality index, indicating a possible localized heat event or equipment failure. Recommended action: evacuate the area and immediately ensure ventilation to prevent heat-related risk. The answer is not only concise, but it also tells the people how to act and what to do. To conclude, the theoretical findings of this research is that the fog layer can behave as a behavior translator, not just a presentation ICT, and multivariant, if blind to single channel, can fail, but this is a structural problem rather than a parametric one, and COM-B capability can be satisfied via on-device application. For our limitation, this experiment was run on a single room for 1 hour. Pressure and light channels were zero padded, 2 out of 7 features, and there was no human evaluation of LLM output for now. The future studies is to take the outputs that they give and evaluate on how effective they can be on real people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Any question or comments from the audiences, please? Okay. Actually, I understand the necessity of your research because this is something that we always deal with our client. Many times we deliver a project. It's not very easy for the end user to get use all these kind of smart home applications. I just want to ask you something. Isn't this LLM system the one that Sony use for the first time?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Okay, so if I don't mistaken, Sony used this LLM generation for a smart home application a few years ago. So is it the same? I guess it was like 2 years ago. So is it quite the same?
No, what this LLM does is, this is a on-device LLM. The model that we used was developed by, I think, Gemini, the Google Foundation, and this gets locally downloaded in the device and functions from that. So you can call it similar, however the training data is what we face.
It's quite similar to that one, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
but this was trained by us. We took the scenarios and we trained this data accordingly.
Okay. So very interesting. Your research contributes to the real life of people. That's why I really admire that. So everything was fine, and I do not have any further question. Thank you. So thanks everyone, and especially Professor Papas for having me again. That was very interesting for me. All your topic was quite good and unique. Good luck for your future presentation, and thanks for having me. Anyone there?
Yes, Garuna.
Okay. So I just said that thanks for having me again. It was very interesting, and I enjoyed most of the presentations.
Where are you currently now? Where are you now at now?
I came back, I guess 2 weeks ago to Iran as soon as the borders were open again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here for another month. If the borders are open, I will go back to Italy.
Alright, okay. Best wishes, safe journey, yeah?
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Shrona, for spending your time to chair the breakout session, our final breakout session for today. Thank you so much once again, Kasih Amida.
Thanks to you, and especially for Papa. So see you next presentation.
See you, inshallah. Maybe we will see you. Maybe. Okay, to be honest, the next conference is not announced yet. So we don't know. So yeah, you will be informed. But once again, thank you. So enjoy your breakfast, lunch, dinner. I don't know what time it's over there.
So it's gonna be lunch, and it's Friday. It's weekend here. Weekend it's Friday and Thursday. Yeah. So it's almost lunch. Okay.
Okay, enjoy lunch. Thank you so much, Doctor. Can we have another round of applause, please? Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. Alright. Okay, now, alhamdulillah, we finished all the presentation. Okay, now I would like everyone to remain seated as we're going to continue our program with the third presentation while we're having our high tea, but we are still waiting for the participants from room 2 to join us. So until all have joined us, then we can begin. Okay?